Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with another Pioneer video series. This one we are going back to one of the greatest hits of Varolz. So one of my early New Year's resolutions is to stop being such a tryhard. I think that's plagued my channel for the last couple of years, is just my obsession with wanting to build like extremely competitive decks, and I think I want to go back to my old school roots of just flinging worms at people and doing crazy decks rather than the more competitive. But I did try to make this one competitive as possible. This is a thought experiment. I'm going to be going back to a lot of my favorite cards from yesteryears that are now legal in the Pioneer format and seeing how well we can build a deck around them. So that's going to be the focal point. I'll just take one card and have it like really shine a light on that card and try to find as many synergies with that card as possible. This video series is going to focus on Varolz, the Scar Stripe. So this is one of my favorite cards printed during this time period, one of my favorite cards out of Dragon's Maze, and it allows all the creatures in your graveyard to have scavenge equal to their mana cost. So there are some cool things you can do with Varolz. This one I'm just going to go a Hardened Scales route, and then decided just to go Hardened Scales and Winding Constrictor as a 2 of, so 6 of these Anthem effects will pump up your creatures. I'm actually wondering if Winding Constrictor is just going to be strictly better than the Hardened Scales because it is a creature you can actually scavenge, so you get a bit more of a boost in this particular deck. But I mean, the curve is just better with the Hardened Scales in this particular deck. So let's just get down the deck list. The targets that are the best for Varolz are going to be cards like the Lupine Prototype, 2 mana for a 5/5. It's kind of the best we have in the format. Yeah, Modern goes back and finds a lot bigger creatures for Varolz. However, a 2 mana for 5/5, you can get some 3 manas for 6. There's some 4 for 7, but it gets tough after about that 4 converted mana cost to really get the big bang for your buck if you're going to be able to close out the game. So 2 mana Lupine Prototype, which in this particular deck, you theoretically can actually cast this and start attacking in because it does have the synergy with the Lotleth Troll, but we'll get there in a second. So the 2 cards that we're going to be scavenging the most are going to be the Lupine Prototype as well as the Greenbelt Rampager. Greenbelt Rampager is also a card that you theoretically could cast if you wanted to. In fact, you could go into the Aether Hub in the mana base. I decided not to just because I think that it is going to be more of a liability than actually something that will benefit going that first turn Aether Hub. And then I'd probably, instead of Traverse the Ulvenwald at that point, want to go into Attune with Aether. So let's just scrap the Greenbelt Rampager. It has synergy too with the Winding Constrictor. So you could theoretically go that route. I'm just going to not go that route with this particular deck. So let's get down to, after the Lupine Prototype and the Greenbelt Rampager for our scavenge effects, everything else is going to basically benefit from getting +1 counter scavenged on them. The Grim Flayer has a ability for Delirium to then put more cards in your graveyard to then scavenge, as well as getting +2/+2 if you have Delirium, and it has Trample. So I think that's very relevant with +1 counters. You want to be able to close out the game, so scavenging onto Grim Flayer is kind of smart. Scavenging Ooze is a card that can actually utilize all the creatures in our graveyard as well. You can exile a creature card from your own graveyard to put up a +1 counter. I don't know if the deck actually wants more Scavenging Ooze. It's also a very good card versus other aggro-based decks. And then Order of the Midnight seems pretty good with this one too, because we're going to be self-milling a lot of our cards. So this is a way for Order of the Midnight to get back like a Varolz or a Lotleth Troll. And then a 2/2 flying for 2 isn't bad either for putting a bunch of +1 counters on it. Rhonas plays kind of double duty in this. Rhonas is a target we can get with our Traverse the Ulvenwald. It has Death Touch, Indestructible, and then it can give other creatures +2/+0 and Trample. Again, if you even have a big Lupine Prototype, it has a bunch of counters on it. Giving it +2/+0 and Trample is exactly what you need to be doing with Rhonas. Also, it's going to be a decent target to put +1 counters on itself with the Rhonas the Indomitable, with a Death Touch Indestructible big beater that can finish out the game very, very quickly. And of course, Walking Ballista, I'm only running a 2 of in this particular one. It just seems pretty decent target to put +1 counters. It has the synergy with Hardened Scales and Winding Constrictor. Honestly, I should probably be running more Walking Ballistas, but again, this is trying to make other cards shine in this particular deck rather than, you know, just building a regular Hardened Scales, Walking Ballista strategy. So that is the focal point of the deck. Let's look on to some of the self-mill cards. We're going to be running 3 Commune with the Gods. They can actually grab the Hardened Scales, and 4 Grisly Salvages because we're probably more likely going to be wanting to do it instant speed and have that option to get lands. I thought about running a bunch of other cards in here. Here we have the Satyr The Satyr can also throw a bunch of creatures in the graveyard and get a land. There's also the 3/1 out of Guilds of Ravnica that puts the top 3 in your library, and you can put a land back on top of your library, but it's not card advantage. And it is a 3/1 for 2, and so that scavenges quite well with Varolz, but it just didn't seem to quite be there with how the card disadvantage with this deck already kind of hurting from that. So Varolz is going to that card's just not going to work in this particular deck. A lot of the trolls will be able to discard cards like the Lupine Prototype and the Greenbelt Rampager that are in the hand. And last but not least is Traverse the Ulvenwald. Traverse the Ulvenwald, Delirium should be quite easy in this deck with the lands going in the graveyard, the creatures going in the graveyard. There'll be artifacts, possibly an enchantment, possibly an instant or sorcery in the graveyard because we have sorcery and with Commune, and we have instant with Grisly Salvage. So it shouldn't be too hard to get the Delirium online for Traverse the Ulvenwald to then dig up whatever we want. That's why 2 Walking Ballistas in this deck becomes 6. Everything else in this deck basically becomes the same amount of numbers of being able to tutor up more and more of them. Sideboard is just like a mix of control cards plus interesting cards. Gifted Aetherborn seems pretty good in this particular deck with Death Touch Lifelink paired up with Rhonas. Give it Death Touch Trample Lifelink. Great place to put +1 counters on it. It will get huge and then be able to win those mid-range wars and aggro wars. Collective Brutality, just a way to rip out instants or sorceries against decks that's a problem with, as well as kill off a creature, as well as make opponent lose 2 life and you gain 2 life, and throw an unneeded card in the graveyard. 4 Thoughtseizes, they're just super good in this format versus the combo decks. So if you're going up to like Jeskai Ascendancy or Saheeli Kat combo, this is a necessary evil. It needs to be brought in with any deck that runs black. Kraul Harpooner, this one seems very interesting. Too bad there's no way to give it haste in this particular deck, but there's a synergy with one of the other cyber cards. This, you can fight down a flyer and then scavenge it from your graveyard. This is another one that, depending on the meta, could be a card that has a lot of numbers or as few as 1. It's a great target to bring in, then tutor up with Traverse the Ulvenwald to get you out of a sticky situation. Same thing with Caustic Caterpillar. This is a great one to tutor up, or hopefully you can find it to kill a Leyline of the Void or something, a Rest in Peace that could be any other artifact too that could be a problem for your deck. Ashiok for other graveyard-based strategies, and this one's kind of cool too with Ashiok because you can mill yourself. So you put the top 4 cards of your library to the graveyard, then exile opponent's graveyards. A lot of people forget that about Ashiok. You can be the target of your own -1, and it can fill up your own graveyard. Also, if it is in the graveyard, that's another way for Traverse to get Delirium. And then we have some cute cards here with the Jarad Golgari Lich Lord. So this one seems pretty interesting with the Kraul Harpooner. If you have a ton of creatures in your graveyard, Kraul Harpooner comes into play, and then you can sacrifice it, and each opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. So it's a fling type effect on Jarad. In fact, Jarad, I want to build an entire deck around for Frontier, not a Varolz based. It will have a similar shell as Varolz. We can, of course, get rid of Hardened Scales and that sort of stuff, and just go fill up your graveyard with creatures. I'm going to be doing that with like probably Stitcher Supplier type cards, and maybe even a zombie theme to it, because there's a lot of zombies that benefit out of being in the graveyard and then recur. And then Kraul Harpooner is going to be an all-star with Jarad Golgari Lich Lord, so I'm sure that we'll see that combo coming up in a Frontier deck. Pharika, God of Affliction, is another good card against other graveyard-based decks. You can exile creature cards and then put a 1/1 black and green snake enchantment creature token. With Death Touch, you can actually do that to your own creatures, and it's pretty decent with +1/+1 counters, and then have Death Touch on those creatures. This is also a decent target to scavenge, 3 mana for 5/5. Didn't include it in the main. Maybe it should be in here instead of like a Greenbelt Rampager. Then 2 Assassin's Trophies. These are just in here for Rest in Pieces and Leylines and Planeswalkers. Anything is kind of your panic button as a 2 of in the sideboard. So again, there's a lot of things that could be changed in the sideboard or in the main. However, this just seems like a pretty fun deck. I'm sure we'll find some cool synergies. And again, I'm really looking at this Jarad Golgari Lich Lord Kraul Harpooner for another idea for a graveyard-based strategy. I think there's a lot to... There's other cards too that have synergies with just flinging that Kraul Harpooner when it gets huge for a ton of creatures in the graveyard. So we'll definitely look into that. Again, I want to bring back the brews, so I apologize if these videos aren't as pristine or edited as you like. It takes a lot more time to edit videos than to shoot videos. So if you want more content, I think that we're just going to point and shoot and get on the road with those. So let's get on to some games here. I'm just going to queue it up in some regular old Pioneer tournament practice queues and see how well. Let's go ahead and create one. So there's one to join. We got the Varolz here. We are good to go. and we'll see how well this deck works. So, alrighty, we are on the draw. This seems to be a mulligan, unfortunately, because there is no, there is no way to tutor up that other land. So we have Hardened Scales with Lotleth Troll and Commune with the Gods, but Commune doesn't get other lands either. So I think this is a mulligan. We'll ship it back, and hopefully, like, if this was a Traverse instead of a Commune, of course, I would keep it. So ship it, and this is much better. Lupine, Hardened Scales. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. We just need to find the Varolz. But, I mean, we actually even have the synergy with Lotleth Troll and Lupine Prototype and just getting rid of our entire hand. Unfortunately, I have to discard a creature card with Lotleth Troll. So we'll keep this. Put the... I would say at this point, the Commune is the weakest card on the bottom of the library. And then that gives us the Grisly Salvage to find a creature. We have Hardened Scales on turn number 1. Yeah, this is a pretty decent hand. Going as energy just is full of ways to bounce, and that is going to be rough to play against this, but we'll see how well this works. All right, so we'll go, that's a good one with the Order of Midnight. We'll go Overgrown Tomb. Yes, we'd like to pay the 2 life, and just go ahead and get that Hardened Scales out. And then Lotleth Troll, again, could be pretty decent with that Lupine Prototype. It's going to be a 4/1 Lotleth Troll. See what our opponent does. A Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So old school energy here. And then we will go with a Lotleth Troll. Unfortunately, we can't regenerate the Lotleth Troll. We can get it big. Like, I am worried about like a Fatal Push. And that Glint Sleeve Siphoner is going to be very annoying with that Menace as well. Getting to draw a card off the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. But Lupine Prototype getting discarded. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Assassin's Trophy. Possibly you could have made the argument that I should have just Grisly Salvaged here and then Lotleth Troll when I had to regenerate up. That's probably a mistake. So, yeah, there's too many things to just take care of Lotleth Troll here. I guess I can like force a play, but with Glint Sleeve Siphoner, with the energy and the card draw each turn, this is going to put me in a weird position. So I'm not sure if Order of the Midnight is even the correct play. But if my opponent allows me to untap with Lotleth Troll, that's pretty decent. Because then we can go crazy. And then that regenerate's going to be pretty good. Because our opponent might not have a way to actually deal with it. Because the regenerating is very, very good against this particular deck. Unless they're running like some sort of exile spell like the one that just came out of... Core 2020 that exiles a card? Because Assassin's Trophy and Abrupt Decay don't get rid of it. Hero's Downfall, yep, womp womp. So just a Hero's Downfall before I can regenerate. So that's my bad. I played that terribly wrong. Grisly Salvage is what we're going to run here. And we need a land. Jeez, didn't find a land. That's awful. We'll get a Lotleth Troll. And pass the turn. So we theoretically could come back from this. But the Glint Sleeve Siphoner is just going to get a ton of... See, that's actually interesting to go that route, too, with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner and the Aether Hubs and the Winding Constrictors. I mean, we did have, like, +1/+1 tokens back during that age, adding Hardened Scales to the mix, and then even Lotleth Troll the mix does seem pretty decent. And there we go. That's what my opponent's kind of doing. The old school just Winding Constrictor. And we take another 2. But we're in a pickle with not drawing a land here. We especially need a green or a black source will work here. No, yes, they will. And the Winding Constrictor going to come down? Or Hangerback Walker, I meant. I was thinking the... Womp womp. Okay, so got a Grisly Salvage again. I think we just lose. So Grisly Salvage, and we do hit the land drop this time. with a Blooming Marsh is fine. Woodland Cemetery. I'm just going to go Blooming Marsh. I guess they all go to the graveyard, so it doesn't matter what I get here. So we'll go the Woodland Cemetery and put the Woodland Cemetery into play. And then next turn we have the Lotleth Troll. But at that point, I think it's going to be too little too late. Hangerback Walker is going to get out of control. Like, we could throw everything on a Lotleth Troll. So just take damage, take damage, take damage. Throw everything on the Lotleth Troll. Another Winding Constrictor is going to allow the Hangerback Walker to be huge. So I can take the hits for here. Well, I could block the Hangerback Walker and kill it. And then possibly attack in for enough trample damage if I ditch everything. But that doesn't seem like it's going to transpire either. So playing a Kaladesh deck, green-black, with added Hangerback Walker. So see, yeah, it looks like my opponent is just going to use the Hangerback Walker. Gaining a ton of energy. And we do not have the ability to block Urborg Tomb. Yawgmoth comes down. I mean, that's decent. Doesn't really allow us to do much, though. Just gives us an extra regenerate. So we'll throw it out. Also allows our opponent to tap without making mana for black. But that's fine. We'll put out the other Lotleth Troll. And Hangerback's going to get huge. Yeah, I think we've definitely lost this one. So I didn't bring any Abrupt Decays or things like that in this too, but it is kind of like one of those decks where we pair off our threats pair off pretty good with our opponent. And we get to be on the play next time, which could be the difference. So Fatal Push in the hand, I just lose here. Because regenerate, yeah, regenerate 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is going to be game. All right, so we'll go to the sideboard. I don't think, like, Gifted Aetherborn does seem pretty good here. Collective Brutality also seems pretty decent to come in because it does give us that added control. We don't need to hit a flyer, I don't believe. We don't need Ashiok either. The Pharika God of Affliction actually does seem pretty decent in this matchup by creating 1/1 Death Touchers of our own. It could definitely grind it out. I'm not sure if it's a losing battle to go with the Assassin's Trophy, though. I think I want to keep my threats as high as possible. So the cards we could get rid of, like, what's the weak link? I don't think our own Winding Constrictors are going to do anything. They're just too much of a liability with Fatal Pushes, so we want stuff that's going to stick around. So Ooze is still fine. The Communes, the Order of Midnights are great. Hardened Scales are great. I mean, Lupine Prototype can possibly come out in this particular match, or something like Greenbelt Rampager. Maybe if we cut like 2 and 1. Maybe that's a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. Okay, yes, we'd like to play first. And hopefully we get a hand we can keep. And unfortunately, we're back to this. We'll mulligan it. And this one's fine, but sort of slow. To be honest, I think it's the Walking Ballista. No, I actually think it's the Varolz that goes bye-bye. And we'll just have to get one later. So we'll go with an Overgrown Tomb. And pass the turn. Yeah, Fatal Push is just miserable for us to deal with. It's where we could bring in, like, Veil of Summers in the sideboard. Like, Veil of Summer would do very well against opponents running removal. One of my opponents... Nope, I thought my opponent would start off with a Thoughtseize. Another Grisly Salvage, so... gosh, could have Fatal Push here. You know what? I think it is just Grim Flayer. If there's a Fatal Push, there's a Fatal Push. There is no Fatal Push. Awesome. So my opponent F6'd. So I don't think there's a Fatal Push in hand. Could have Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy. Grim Flayer will give us pretty good advantage. We don't have anything like Winding Constrictor. It's probably why Fatal Push most likely needs to be in our sideboard as well. There's just not a lot of room for Cyber Pioneers. Kind of is... Oh, there's a Fatal Push. Off the top. Womp womp. Okay, Hardened Scales. So we'll do the Hardened Scales here. And then we'll rip out a Grisly Salvage. I don't think I go for a Walking Ballista quite yet. But those mulligans were rough. Because I do want another land with the Grisly Salvage. So a Long Tusk Cub, we'll probably end up shooting that down with a Walking Ballista. We'll wait and see. We find nothing. We find a Greenbelt Rampager, and we'll have to get rid of all this juicy stuff. So that was pretty bad. Rhonas is horrible as well. We could Grisly Salvage for land. So if I Hardened Scales for 1, I don't even kill the... So we can just Rampager twice. No, we'd have to do it 3 times, and that doesn't even work. So I think it's just Grisly Salvage. And Woodland Cemetery for a Grim Flayer. Oh, no, I can't do both. I think we have to do this. I hate to use this quickly. But Rhonas drawing is pretty bad. We can actually let the Long Tusk Cub happen. I don't care about getting a buff up. Because Ballista with the Hardened Scales is going to get... Yeah, we got 2 of the dredge cards we wanted in the graveyard here. And one of the Order of the Midnight in the graveyard as well. And I believe I just let my opponent have it. Because I can't... I need this Ballista to... Yeah, I need this Ballista to survive. So there's the 2 energy. Hopefully it's not the 2 energy my opponent needs for various... Hope they have a Glint Sleeve Siphoner hand. And there's the Hero's Downfall. Womp womp. So at least get to do 2 damage to our opponent. I can't go after the Cub because the opponent will just put a +1 counter on it. And how do we get out of this? I mean, we can go Rampager to make a 3/3. But I'm assuming there's like another Fatal Push or something. Another Hardened Scales. Not where we want to be. I think we have to do this. So there's 1 energy. And then 2. And then this third one gives us a Greenbelt Rampager. But if my opponent's got another Fatal Push or something, then that Long Tusk Cub is just going to get out of hand. So far, nothing. Some of the Hero's Downfall over the Murderous Rider. I think in this deck too, especially, like Murderous Rider is better. Uh-oh. Finds the Winding Constrictor. Finds the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. We're back to this. And unfortunately, I can't take the Long Tusk Cub. In fact, my opponent should remove 2 of them. And that is going to be game. So, yeah, I think we need to put some sort of Fatal Push. The thing is, we're like better. Being an all-in deck is better versus other control or combo decks. And then, like, when they're running this sort of stuff main, they're just going to get just blown out by Jeskai Ascendancies and stuff with dead cards, I would assume. I mean, they get to flip them out post-sideboard. But, yeah, we just match up pretty bad versus people who are running the Fatal Push and Decays and stuff. Okay, so Traverse the Ulvenwald does get interesting here. Like, what could we get, though, to get us out of this? Because we do have Delirium. So let's go ahead and look and see. Because I think we just go get a Walking Ballista, to be honest. I think that's our best answer here. I mean, Order of Midnight would also be pretty cool. But just getting another Ballista with the double Hardened Scales is something we can take care of that Glint Sleeve Siphoner. That's the only way I see this coming out. Because Varolz will get it very interesting. We get a huge Greenbelt Rampager. But we'll go ahead and get Ballista. and then put out the other Hardened Scales. And that allows for shooting down Glint Sleeve. Before opponent gets any sort of additional answers. And I mean, even this Walking Ballista also gets pretty interesting with just pumping in 3 counters to it per turn. Of course, another Fatal Push. Just going to do that on the end of turn, huh? Pump into the Longtusk Cub. It is getting quite the threat. So opponent goes Verdurous Gearhulk, huh? Womp womp. I don't think I'm going to come back from just really playing old school Kaladesh, huh? I think there's better things in this day and age than Verdurous for +1/+1 counters. So should just split them. I have to block the Longtusk Cub now. And again, I don't think we're coming back from this. I don't see any outs. Well, that's interesting. I could kill... Yeah, I'm just going to block. Block the Cub. An Ooze would be kind of interesting if I drew an Ooze off the top. I could exile 2 things, gain some life. Varolz is also slightly interesting. This is actually pretty interesting. That was a good card. Do I shoot down the Winding Constrictor right now? Or... because I can't take the 12. I don't think... I think we have to kill the Winding Constrictor. Too bad there's no way to give this Death Touch in the deck. And did not plus, so keeping the energy. We do have to block, though. So I'm thinking, like, losing... Do I have another one I can eat? So I have to block the Walking Ballista on the Longtusk Cub, I believe. I'm glad we did get to see this, though, because that is a pretty insane combo, and I think I need to go up the count of Walking Ballistas in this deck. I think it's the big payoff card. So, opponent is going to attack him with both. We'll just block the Longtusk Cub and take 7. Ugh, that we can block here. Yeah, I can take 5 if I block and sacrifice to regenerate. So that's probably better. So go block here, because it's just sacrificing the creature regenerate. Okay. And we can Ballista for 1 to the face. And then sacrifice a creature to regenerate. We have nothing that gives... There's no ones in the graveyard for us to scavenge. What would make it interesting if we had a 1 to scavenge is we could get a huge Rhonas. So best case scenario we can draw into is we need the Death Touch Lifelinker to draw. And then scavenge this... I guess just scavenge any one of these 2 drops to put 5 counters on it. And that's how we would survive an attack. But again, my opponent's got the Hissing Quagmire that makes it difficult. Glint Sleeve Siphoner, not so much. Not too worried about a Glint Sleeve at this point. And here's Alpha, though. That's going to be the end. So that does it. Cool, though. I'm liking this combo with Varolz for sure. Do I need more 1-drops in the graveyard? There's another Varolz, but that will do it. So Rhonas being dead in hand was kind of awkward. Let's queue up for another one here. Let's see. Number of players. Anyone enjoy? Create. All right. See if once we get another player. So yeah, Walking Ballista and Traverse definitely seems like the right call. Like more Order of Midnight seem good too. It's just it doesn't seem like we have enough slots. And hey, we get to keep a hand for once. This one's kind of awkward. I don't think we care about the energy aspect of it, so I'm just going to go Overgrown Tomb to play tapped, not pay the life. And depending on what our opponent puts out, we have Lotleth Troll. So if it's like a green, so far so good, I think we just go Lotleth Troll here. And then pass the turn. And hopefully there's no removal spell, because we'll go next turn Winding Constrictor and just go for it. I'll ditch everything. My opponent did get a... Oh, check. Is this the same person? Or is this just like, is everyone thinking energy is now the new jam? Now, another thing I could do is discard everything and cast that Lupine Prototype. I wonder if that is just the better route. So we're going to shock ourselves. Yes, we'd like to play 2 life. Let's go with the Winding Constrictor. We're definitely going to get rid of the Greenbelt Rampager. I think we just go for it. So we're going to attack. And let's go Greenbelt for sure. And I think even the Grim Flayer at this point. Lupine Prototype, though, is interesting because then I can just cast it. Nah, it's gone. I think we are going all in. Down to a 12, and we've got to regenerate up. So can't utilize that at the moment. Can attack into the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, but it's going to leave away a blocker. Yeah, we just pair so bad against this energy. Okay, so my opponent's probably going to make me regenerate at the beginning of my upkeep, is what I'd assume. Before attack? No, okay. So let's go ahead and commune. Because this is lethal if we find... Oh my goodness, I want everything here. I want that Walking Ballista just as backup. Unfortunately, we have the Hissing Quagmire. I think we go for it because this is lethal. If not, though, the Walking Ballista definitely is a good play. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think we'll just get the Lupine Prototype. Play the Hissing Quagmire. I guess I didn't need to do that quite yet. Go to combat. Okay. And we will regenerate. So ended up being the wrong play. But we still get in there with the Winding Constrictor. And this puts us in a pretty decent scenario too, other than our opponent could have another Fatal Push. And this Grisly Siphoner can just start running away with the game. All right, nope, didn't have the other answer. So that was a cool one because the Lotleth Troll, just the Lotleth Troll Winding Constrictor combo is still pretty good. I'm still under the impression these Collective Brutalities are awesome. Still not a fan of this Assassin Trophy. I'm going to bring in the Pharika, God of Affliction. Nah, don't know if Jarad actually wants to come in here. So what was weak last time? Rhonas, though, does seem like it can just take over the game. But it got stuck in her hand and lost us the game last time around. So I'm not sure that Rhonas is the right play. This is a way that I can get a huge amount of Death Touch trample damage with a Gifted Aetherborn. Prototypes possibly the weak link in this one. No, prototypes seem good too. So 5 cards would have to come out. The Greenbelt Rampagers didn't really work out for us last time, but I mean, we were wanting a couple. I think it was that we cut some of these, but then that ended up being, I'm going to go down a Varolz, go down the Grim Flayers. The Grim Flayers are just a liability in this one. Yeah, I think so. Plus we're replacing with the Gifted Aetherborns. Nothing else really needs to come in. We don't need to worry about Ashiok or... Yeah, all right. We'll submit this again. Maybe Thoughtseize should be a split with Fatal Push for Out of Control versus these decks, because Fatal Push is so good versus my opponent's deck. Yeeks. We are mulliganing for 3 out of 4 today. We have 20 lands in our deck. It's not like we're a very low land count. All right, cool. We'll just mulligan this again. And what can you do? 2 swamps too. Okay, we can keep this one. Throw that away and a Winding Constrictor away. And I guess I should have put a Greenbelt Rampager. Done. Woodland Cemetery. We have to do a Traverse, which sucks unless we draw a land here. We do draw a land, but I still believe we are going to Traverse. I don't like that, but what can you do? Grim Flayer. I do have an answer for the Grim Flayer with the form of the Winding Constrictor. Unless it gets Fatal Pushed, then I will cry my eyes out. Man, Lotleth Troll just seems really, really good. What if my deck wants a Field of Ruin to go for Delirium count? I don't really understand that because theirs comes into play. No, it doesn't. So, yeah, let's get a Black Source. So Fatal Push on the Constrictor, I guess. That sucks. Had the Fatal Push. And decides to keep things on top. Aside from there's another card that I was thinking about running in the deck. So let's go out and hold out this Varolz. Wonder if my opponent's running Troll as well with the Asylum Visitor. Gotta be running it. That's the only synergy I can think of. And you got it. I am not blocking. See what else goes in the graveyard. But there's a lot of different synergies you can see. You can go with black-green. There's an overabundance of cards that can be run. Unfortunately, I can't get this Greenbelt Rampager in the bin. Nah, Dress is fine. I mean, it gets a Grisly Salvage. Grisly Salvage is the card he wanted there. I guess, well, Hardened Scales. And Gifted Aetherborn. That is going to be annoying. Overgrown Tomb. And passes the turn. One card left in hand. Alright, so we could get our Varolz up to a 4/4. Oh, we need Lotleth Troll really badly off the top. Well, let's go for Grisly Salvage. And hopefully there's a Lotleth Troll. Not a Rhonas. I'm going to let that actually go in the graveyard. That sucks. So I think we're just going to end up scavenging. Yeah, Rhonas, I don't see Rhonas getting there. We could take it. This gets up to 4/4. You know what? Rhonas actually might be good. Except we have to pop this. Yes, pay 2 life. And unfortunately, we just have to Constrictor onto Varolz. So I'm taking 6 here. My opponent gets to set up with Grim Flayer. But Rhonas is something that can be just a... Decides to take back the Field of Ruin. Because a Fatal Push? Oh, great. My opponent's last card in hand's a Fatal Push? Gotta be kidding me. I didn't be the wrong play. But I had the nuts this one with the double Fatal Push. I mean, Grim Flayer is really good just to set up. Grapple's a pretty cool card in this one, too. Yeah, Grapple's actually insanely good. I wonder if Grapple's just better than, like, Grisly Salvage. 3 cards versus 5 cards, but you get to return a creature. Creature or land. Alright, so Rhonas was the wrong play. We can go Green Pelt, return. Green Pelt, return. Green Pelt. It's good. Unfortunately, we can't cast either of these, but if we draw a land next turn, we get Rhonas and... But my opponent was able to set up perfectly. Kept the cards in their hand. So I have to block the Gifted Aetherborn. Go to 2. And we need a land to cast both Lupine Prototype and Rhonas the Indomitable. So I think the verdict's out. Even in this deck, probably Varolz is a one of, and then not the Hardened Scales. Just go with the Winding Constrictor and go into an energy route. So opponent is tapping for 5 Whopping mana. What costs 5 in my opponent's deck that they set up? You're just tapping out and passing the turn. Angler. I'm still okay with an Angler if I get a land. So land off the top and we're fine. Not that land. So wrong land. Traverse, though, might be able to get us something. They can get us out of this. No, because we go Lotleth Troll. Yep. No, we're one off. We're one off from being able to cast both Lotleth Troll and the Lupine Prototype to block. So the only thing I can get is a Gifted Aetherborn would keep me alive. Actually, even Gifted Aetherborn would not keep me alive. Any 1-drop Scavenging Ooze would not keep me alive. Lotleth Troll would not keep me alive. Walking Ballista would not keep me alive. Yeah, I don't believe there's anything here that can get us down. I mean, this would be the best play to be the Gifted Aetherborn. But we'd still be dead. That's perfect lethal. Wonder if Ashiok wants to come in this match just to get rid of my opponent's graveyard. Yep, does the right thing. So that is exactly lethal. Yeah, Ashiok just seems slow. Dumbing down, well, Ashiok actually does seem like it wants to be in this matchup because it does I think my opponent is going heavy on the graveyard. Okay, let's not mulligan 4 out of 5 times. That's keepable. Barely. I think we still lead off with a Traverse. Nah, we'll do a Hardened Scales. These Greenbelt Rampagers, though, they're very weird in the hand. I mean, maybe just going down to a 2 of Lupine and Greenbelt. I guess my opponent gets the Traverse, which actually is pretty rough. Not a fan of that. Duress, though. Why did my opponent bring in a Duress? I guess. So I think I'm just going to go Walking Ballista, the best card here, because Scavenging Ooze gets a little more of an oomph. Yeah, I agree with that play. Apply some pressure. This also takes care of like a Grim Flayer on turn 2, or either the Grim Flayer or the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Be an Assassin's Trophy. Abrupt Decay. So now we can go Ooze. Just continue to go threats. Aetherborn's actually pretty good here. Let's do an Aetherborn. Continue to create some pressure. Aetherborn for an Aetherborn. I accept. Woodland Cemetery can actually get the Greenbelt Rampager out. Oh my gosh, this is stupid. We can also Ooze. And get rid of my opponent's... No, I think it's just Rampager. Such a feel-bad card when you have to... it's just a 3/4 for 3, though, if you think about it. Not a bad card whatsoever. Jadeite Ranger, I did think about putting in this deck. A couple of the Explorer cards. They're kind of weird to scavenge, though. But also Steel Leaf Champion seemed like a pretty neat card for 3 mana for a 5/4 in this deck for a good scavenge target. But we have the Greenbelt Rampager out now. See if my opponent wants to make a trade. All right, that's fine. I'd rather have that off my opponent's field than my field. Possibly you could make an argument, but I want these creatures in the graveyard, so my opponent thinking they're on Delirium, and then I can just eat it away. So we have a Silent Visitor coming down. Ugh. So bidding each player's upkeep, they get to draw a card. And Abrupt Decay on the Hardened Scales, which isn't really doing a lot right now. So opponent gets to draw a card. No, it doesn't quite get to. So we get the Walking Ballista back and kill the Asylum Visitor. I think that's actually good. Another kind of feel bad. Yeah, I need to do this, though. Really impressed with this card, with the Order of the Midnight, though, in the deck. Got my Hardened Scales, though. Womp womp. Get out of here. Okay, so now we're down to basically both almost out of cards. Opponent does 2, I have 1. Hopefully opponent has all Duresses. And I kind of have an Order of the Midnight I can play too, so... Opponent just passes the turn, has nothing. I wonder if they just F6 through that turn. We'll definitely go Overgrown Tomb, yes. Attack in. I think my opponent did just F6 through the turn. And we will go ahead, throw down the Ooze, and get to chomping. Fatal Push. We'll just eat his graveyard rather than do an Order of Midnight. So which one did I... So I went after that. We'll go after that. And let's get rid of... So instant, 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 instant. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter what we get rid of. Or sorcery. Yeah, we get rid of sorcery. There we go. Three cards. There's another Asylum Visitor. That's the top deck. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, we got some good top decks we can still get. Gets to draw a card and lose a life. Lotleth Troll's okay. We'll go ahead and cast it. And attacking with the Greenbelt Rampager. Put it down to an 8. And then we'll definitely cast the Order of the Midnight as well. Three cards in hand. That was one of the one cards that I needed my opponent not to draw. Still think we attack him with good old Troll and Order of Midnight. Yeah, that Order of Midnight's just going to get... All right, so we can commune here. What can we get? We just miss. Completely miss with the commune. Ay, ay, ay. Land, 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 traverse, traverse. What a joke. Okay, so let's go ahead and attack with just the Order of Midnight. Ugh. Feels bad. Well, that's a way to lose the game. I wonder, Asylum Visitor probably does need to come in this deck. I think Asylum Visitor over Greenbelt Rampager, just for I guess just not having a 1 mana is smart. And then we will block with the Rampager. Blossoming Defense, huh? All right. Cool. Gets back that juicy life, gets rid of a creature. And I am in trouble here with that. Oh, stop it, deck. Order of Midnight coming in. I'm not going to cast this Greenbelt Rampager. Just going to throw it on the Troll. Jeez. Where were you last time, Commune? Opponent gets to get the lifelink damage. Yeah, it's pretty much over with that. Asylum Visitor plus the... So, we'll block. Regenerate. Two life again. Probably gonna Field of Ruining my... Ooh, Sign in Blood. That's risky, dude. That's very risky to Sign in Blood yourself. Field of Ruining... Oh, Sign in Blood again. Very risky. Field of Ruining my Hissing Quagmire could be pretty good. Oh, another Gifted Aetherborn. I can force out a block, though, on the Gifted Aetherborn. Oh, Collective Brutality is pretty good. Gains no life, but I can't trample through. Yes, I can. So if my opponent blocks with the Gifted Aetherborn, I can give it -2. Oh, no, I can't. -2, -2 on the Gifted Aetherborn, though, does make it so it has to block here and both die. I think that's better than Silent Visitoring. So I go there, my opponent still survives and has 4 cards in hand. If I go here, that's a 0/1, takes 3. Still does take 3. So I'm going to go for the win. So, better way to go for the win is just attacking with Order of Midnight. Yeah, that's just better. So target player, so I get a, yeah, target opponent loses 2 life. So we'll just attack into the Order of Midnight. That's way better. I almost overthought this scenario. All right, so we won that match. 2 green blacks. Let's go one more here against literally Dank is our host. See if this will be a dank game. And this will be our last one here. We lose the draw again, but we do not have to mulligan. Greenbelt Rampager for Asylum Visitor. That's the first change. Absolutely. Asylum Visitor, I think, is definitely what this deck wants. The madness with the Lotleth Troll is pretty decent. Whenever, like, even going Charnel Troll at that point would be good. Charnel Troll is the one that came out of Guilds of Ravnica. That's a 4/4, and then you can discard creature cards to give it a... I can't remember what you do. You exile creature cards from your graveyard. I can't remember what the discard portion is. Alrighty, so we will just do the Overgrown Tomb into play tapped. And... do you know another interesting card with Varolz would be? That 5/6 that's out of... the new set, the 5/6 flying blue creature. Alright, finally got a Goblin Instigator. Now I'm wishing I would have gone for the Greenbelt Rampager. So Walking Ballista is something I want with Varolz. Varolz is very, very slow, though. I could shock myself and go Greenbelt, and then next turn I can get a green... oh my gosh. Now I'm kicking myself. So Greenbelt. Because I need this out next turn. And possibly something else. But we had a slow hand. Legion Warboss, huh? Well then. That is going to be tricky to beat. Hissing Quagmire, is that just better to throw out? Or do we need to go Walking Ballista with this Greenbelt Rampager? Nope, so Hissing Quagmire and Greenbelt Rampager. Unfortunately, that's that. And I think we're just going to get beat down to too much token generation. We have no way to sweep them. Especially if there's like a deck in stone. Our Fatal Push is just a necessary evil that we're going to have to run, like Abrupt Decay, Fatal Push in the main. That's what gets these graveyard decks a little bit awkward, is you have to have... Or just run the more Aetherborns. Like, Aetherborns could also be instead of these Greenbelt Rampager, just a bunch of Aetherborns. Well, we know what we're going after. Mr. Legion Warboss. Probably going to get shocked in response and we'll lose it, I would assume. We're getting into Stoke the Flame range too. But, I mean, at least we got sort of... I mean, we got the big threat out of the way. A silence, huh? I can't even cast spells this turn. Womp womp. We can do a Grisly Salvage on my opponent's turn, though. So not even non-creatures, just nothing. No spells whatsoever. What's Hissing Quagmire? Just a 2/2? So we can animate and block one of them. A silence. It's an interesting addition. Grisly Salvage seems... yeah. So I'm taking 5. I don't think the right play is to animate the Hissing Quagmire. I don't think it is. I think it's just to take the 5, and if I die, I die. Silence. Another Instigator. And we will salvage. So I might just dead to a Stoke the Flames. Lotleth Troll, Greenbelt Rampager. So the Overgrown Tomb. Overgrown Tomb does not work, but it's still better. Yeah, we need lands. So I was hoping to be able to go Varolz and then be able to, but the only play we have here without taking even more damage is we're going to go Winding Constrictor. And unfortunately, it's just Walking Ballista. Don't know if we're going to be able to survive. The thing is I can block and then shoot down too with the Walking Ballista. And that puts us at a 2, though, is the problem. So we block, and then shoot down. And opponent has 4 cards in hand. You got to think they have a bunch of burn. See how confident my opponent is. Pretty confident in that attack. So it's going to be a block and a block. Let's actually go. Yeah, block here in case they have some sort of flicker. And then remove. Remove. But still take 2. And still not get enough blockers out the next turn because we need ways to just get rid of these prototypes. Thrill. Does Thrill have a... No, did not have a... So no Lightning Strike. So at least we got that going for us. But unfortunately, it's double. Is it another Silence? I'm actually okay. Silence is actually okay. I mean, I get it. I get the silences, but I mean, burn spells would have been done better. Like, that silence did 5 damage. This silence might have not done any damage. So I'm just taking 1 here, so a Wild Slash even gets me. Womp womp. Okay, so we'll bring in the Scavenger, or we'll bring in the Collective Brutalities for sure, because it helps us with a lot of damage. And Pharika's neat too. My opponent's going to be running Silences just to put out a bunch of... I don't know, I think Pharika's fine. Possibly this is the wrong card. Let's take it out. So we're not going to be winning this with Lupine Prototypes and Greenbelt Rampagers. So I think just bringing like Gifted Aetherborns in, and well, we're gonna have to put in some amount of these. So Greenbelt Rampagers probably are better. Don't want Thoughtseizes, don't want the Harpooners or the Caustic Caterpillars. Ashiok, Jarad, Pharika's like the one card that you can make the argument for bringing in, as it is something that can get on. I'm gonna bring it in. Yeah, we need more Walking Ballistas in the deck though. Neat card though with Varolz. Varolz is probably just a cute one of in like a +1 encounters deck, and then just not focus on it. And then it's also a decent little Traverse grab. So we'll edit this deck at the end here and see where I would end up. This is actually a really good hand versus our opponent. So we'll just lead off with good old Overgrown Tomb tapped. And then we got Collective Brutality to take care of any 1-drop. Or we can just go Winding Constrictor. I think it's just Constrictor here. Because then we go Lotleth Troll. There's good old Instigator. Can't silence me now. Black Source is still better. This deck actually does do a good job getting Pharika online, too. I mean, there's 4 Devotion, 2 more with Pharika. And we will just keep it back. I'm sure there's like Stoke the Flames in my opponent's deck, but we get a big Walking Ballista out next turn that just wipes these tokens. Or we go Collective Brutality, Collective Brutality. It's fine. Wonder if this deck wants 2 Hardened Scales, 4 Winding Constrictor. Shock on the Winding Constrictor, huh? That's fine. And a Wild Slash. So do I want to make Lotleth Troll huge here? I don't think I do. I think I let it happen. Because we still got good old... No, we want Lotleth Troll to have... So we want a 5th mana before Walking Ballista comes out. There's a Grisly Salvage. That's fine. We can run it out in a turn. Collective Brutality is not... I don't need to rip out anything out of my opponent's hand. I don't have anything we want in the graveyard at the moment. So we'll just pass the turn. Got our opponent 2 for 1, and he's the aggro deck. He's the one that needs to be using those resources. Four cards left in hand. There is the Goblin Rabblemaster, so we are going to need to eat that card. Has to attack with everything, though, so that's something we can block. We'll block the Instigator and regenerate. And then end a turn Grisly Salvage. And what do we get here? That's pretty decent with the Order of Midnight, but we'll go with the Winding Constrictor. Gives us a play. I'm not sure where we want to go. There's our other land. So definitely going to collect a Brutality here. Got to get rid of the Goblin Rabblemaster. It's a nuisance. And it's going to be Winding Constrictor, and we'll keep up a regeneration. Could attack in with the Troll, but we'll just pass a turn. There's one big threat with the Rabblemaster gone. I wonder if this is the reason why a lot of sideboards are running Illness in the ranks for the Rabblemasters and Legion War Boss. Another card you should be pulling out of the bulk. It's very good in this deck, in this meta. Thrill Possibilities, discarding just another Glorious End. So silencing Glorious Ends to take extra attack phases. And this should be game after I pump out this big Walking Ballista here. So we'll show the Ballista. And get in with the Winding Constrictor. And then pass the turn. Five cards, though, in my opponent's hand. So Thrill Possibilities are just used for getting rid of... Yep, thought that one was coming. So, Geez, Prototype's actually... Well, my opponent running cards like Silence. I wonder if Thoughtseize is just good in this, just to rip out a Rabblemaster or a... No, it's probably not. Yeah, Traverse is great. So Grasp instead of Commune, down on the Hardened Scales, possibly? Because Hardened Scales just get kind of awkward with Grisly Salvage. But Grass seems amazing. Anyway, I'm just in my own world here trying to figure out how to make this deck actually better. Again, it will have to go down from the Varolz because too many Varolz is pretty bad. I still like the toolbox fill of Traverse, getting like Rhonas, but maybe Rhonas isn't the right play. I can even see keeping 2 Varolz in this deck, because the odds of that give 6 copies with Traverses. And then Grisly Salvages and things. Yeah, just tutoring up that 1 Varolz. And could still be a Varolz deck. So yeah, we're keeping this just because the payoff is huge with the Hardened Scales finding something. So Blooming Marsh, Hardened Scales here is great. And that is some devotion online already for Pharika. So here probably is another Krankos Command type card. Yep, Instigator again. And we'll just go ahead and put out the Constrictor. So we have a huge play if we do get a Ballista, which should be a 4 of in this deck. Probably the most payoff too. Gotta think of the payoff cards. So just going to go double Wild Slash on it again. I mean, it's fine. It took a 2-for-1 there. Pharika will be the play. Unless... Pharika actually seems weak. Unfortunately, I think we have to Commune. Grim Flayer's fine. Hissing Quagmire. So we have 3 card types in the graveyard. Ouch, though. Opponent doesn't have a lot of play left, but here comes, like, if it is like a Legion War Boss. Gideon. Okay, I'm okay with Gideon over a Legion War Boss because it's a lot less of a threat. Because I'm only taking 2 damage here. And we almost have Pharika online with this Grim Flayer coming down. So Commune Grim Flayer is probably the right play, or we could go Gifted Aetherborn. Aetherborn just seems really good. We could actually go both of them. Because Commune could get the Grim Flayer online and put a 4/4, though. So I think it's just Shock, Grim Flayer, and tap our mana, right? Grim Flayer, just a 2/2. Gifted Aetherborn, just a 2/3. 2 Wild Slashers are burned. 3 cards left in my opponent's hand. No Rabblemaster. Gonna have dead cards like Silences and that Glorious End. So Gideon's just gonna pump up until your next turn. All damage prevented by Gifted Aetherborn. I'm okay with that. You're going to shock off the Grim Flayer. Commune can get Grim Flayer up next turn. Pharika can be online 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as a 5/5 indestructible. Yep, we're just going to go here and here. Call it good. I'm going to shock the Gifted Aetherborn now or have a pump spell. Embercleave. Actually had an Embercleave. I hate this card. So Grim Flayer is going to die, but we only take 3 damage. All right, well that didn't work out for us. Urborg Tomb Yawgmoth. Okay, so this allows us to cast Pharika. So let's go ahead and Commune. And we get a Varolz. Varolz is interesting. Rhonas is not interesting. Varolz is, though. And I actually think that we forego Varolz because it allows us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pharika will be on next turn. We can block. Yeah, I think Varolz is actually the right play. Or Pharika's actually the right play. The problem is Gideon is probably going to attack in this turn. Two cards. No, did not. Double Strike Trample on the Goblin Instigator. Goblin Rabblemaster coming down. Oh, Gideon is being a pain, but we can kill Gideon next turn, is the good news. Taking a ton of damage off the Embercleave. That is not a card we wanted. But it actually works. Let's go ahead and attack in first with Pharika. So Rabblemaster dies. We can put out a Death Toucher with... Put out a bunch of counters, though. Oh, so Death Toucher would be fine to put out a blocker. Because we're going to have to block... I think what we do is we just eat Rhonas for 5. Or we can go Hardened Scales here, and then... Yeah, for 6/6. That, I think, is the best play, because now we can block the Instigator. I think my opponent still needs to dumb down Gifted Aetherborn. No, he's going to decide to attack, so we can block there and actually block on the Goblin Instigator. I'm okay with that. Oh, can bring over Embercleave, huh? So this just has to go on Gideon, unfortunately. This just has to go here, and do I die? So I gain 2 life, and then I lose... Is that lethal perfect? No, we're down to a 3. But we lose out on Varolz. But we get a Varolz here. Hey, top deck is great. All right, so sometimes you win some by top decking. Don't think my opponent's very happy with this top deck. I'll take it. So Embercleave is only 3 to equip. Jesus, card's broken. And then we'll scavenge the Rhonas. Yeah, let's get Rhonas. I guess we could go Greenbelt Rampager. Why didn't I even look at that? That was in the graveyard the entire time? Wow, I'm done. Dumb. So we'll go the Greenbelt Rampager. And can I just win here? That's 13. And yeah, I'm going to go for lethal. Oops, undo that. And then now we have the Grim Flayer. So that's only 16. So I'm actually just going to go after Gideon. But we're back up to... Yeah, that's the way to build Varolz. Varolz needs to have the... I guess I could have gone Pharika at Gideon and Gifted Aetherborn at my opponent, but this puts me back up to 14 and puts back blockers. Thrill just gets another Glorious Hand. That's fine. So, absolutely in, because it beats these aggro if you can get counters on the Gifted Aetherborn. Still interesting, though, with those 1-drops. Like the 3/4. But I still think just going the Madness route and having it cost 2 more is probably better. Lupine Prototype gets more interesting because it's able to get Delirium on board. All right, let's go back to the drawing board here. So I still like these Greenbelt Rampagers. I think that option with Varolz is huge, but I think it'd be a one-of. It could be like a tutor card, a possible tutor card to bring back. And same thing with Lupine Prototype. I think these should come way down. Varolz could go down to a 2-of. Walking Ballista absolutely needs to be... Oops, in the wrong. So the Ballista... wonder if a Mutavault wants to be in this deck too, like a 1 of Mutavault, because it's easy to animate. So Walking Ballista wants to be a 4 of, absolutely here. I'm thinking Hardened Scales is kind of the odd man out. So Hardened Scales possibly just wants to be a 2 of in this deck. I do like the ability for this to be an enchantment in the graveyard. But yeah, Prototype, Greenbelt Rampager, Constrictor might want to go up in numbers. Grim Flayer might want to go up in numbers. I'm going to go Commune down and Grasp. We'll put a Grasp back in this for the green. Is it called Grasp? No, it's called the Return. I thought it was Grasp. Return. Let's put the top 3 mana cost. So what was it called? Now I can't think of it. We'll get to it though. Now I can't think of the stupid card that puts the top 3 and then returns a creature. Maybe I'm for 2 mana. I thought it was Grass something. I'll look it up. It's out of Eldritch Moon. Anyway, that should probably be in here instead of the Commune with the Gods. I still like the Order of Midnight, but maybe order down to a 1 of in this deck. Still like the Grisly Salvage, I would say. Possibly, though, that's not the right one. Just putting 3 cards and getting a specific one might be better. But there definitely is... There is something to this deck. And I think Gifted Aetherborns absolutely want to be at least a 2 of, possibly even higher. Rhonas is still in there, because then you'll get the Rhonas combo in here, where Rhonas can then throw on the Gifted Aetherborn. Jarad is actually looking better and better with this Scavenge ability, to then throw on a huge creature and then sacrifice it. So attack in and then sack it. So this is another card that's there. Overall, I enjoyed this deck a lot. It was very, very fun. It's definitely more of a casual deck. There's a better way to build a green-black deck. Oh yeah, we were looking at the Asylum Visitor. So the Visitor. I wonder if there's a good draw discard in. So Asylum Visitor 2, I think, is definitely our best scavenge card. So either you madness it in and draw cards, which can give you some more oomph versus the deck, or you scavenge it for 2 mana for a 3/1. So that seems pretty decent. Yeah. Anyway, what's Night Howlers? Night Howler actually, this might be another good one, the Night Howler. I've completely forgot about this card because, oh, it's a 0/0. So it's not a star. So is there any stars in the format? So creature-wise, a star not there. The Werewolf's a star but not in the graveyard. Or is it in the graveyard? But I mean, it's too high converted mana cost. So that's what we'd be looking for, like any sort of star. Yeah, Pack Rat, definitely not. Because stars read out of the graveyard as well as out of the... That one's interesting for each artifact and enchantment you control, but yeah, this wouldn't be the deck for it. But we'll have to keep looking at this, see if there's any... These ones are kind of interesting. There's any sort of other cards we could add to it. Definitely looking forward to your comments in the comment section below, what you thought about this. We'll try the full-on Jarad Golgari Lich Lord. I'll try to get that out tomorrow, maybe Monday. Again, I'm trying to find some time to sit down and actually do these, and I apologize just for the shoddy editing. If you want to see more gameplay, this is how it just has to work. I don't have time to edit these videos, but yeah, we'll get to that Jarad deck. And yeah, comments in the comment section below for any upgrades or anything I missed in this particular video series of what could go in, Mutavault, those type of cards. Looking forward to your testing for this particular Varolz the Scarstripe. So that's kind of the goal. Maybe we'll start doing that as a community. Pick a card and brew the hell out of that particular card. Doesn't have to be a good deck. Just see, we just want to make the best deck possible for the card. We're not looking to win Pro Tours here. We're not looking to be tryhards here. We're just looking to make a particular card shine. And that will be the goal of my channel going forward. Hope you enjoyed this video. Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.